Namam Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prashtaya Bhutale Shrimad Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Sarasvate Deve Gauravani Vacharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Prashatya Desha Charine. So, any question you always wanted to ask, but you never dared to do it?
Имате ли такива въпроси, които винаги сте искали да зададете, но никога не сте се осмелявали да го правите?
Oh, here comes the hand in the air. Okay, let's hear it.
Този въпрос наистина така малко плахо се решавам да го задам. Този въпрос плахо се решавам да го задам, но ми е притеснено.
This question is a little bit shy to ask.
That's good. Yes, that's what we wanted to hear.
Шрила Прабхупада на много места в коментари казва, че преданото служене започва след като личност стане над гуните на материалната природа.
In his purpose, Srila Prabhupada always says that the devotional service actually starts when one becomes transcendent to the modes of material.
Well, that's what Krishna says. He just repeats what Krishna says. You know the verse?
Това е което Кришна казва всъщност, той просто повтаря. Знаеш този стих?
Mam chayo vyabhicharini bhakti yogena sevate sagunan samati dhyaitan brahma bhuyaya kalpate. And then, yes. So once one transcends the three modes, then real devotional service begins.
И да, когато човек отхвърли гуните на материалната природа, истинското предано служене започва.
So, what is the question?
Сега, въпрос.
Какво съм аз тогава? Аз не съм на гуните на материалната природа. Аз кога ще стана? Какво съм? Какво правя?
So, actually I'm asking myself, what am I? I'm not able to become transcendent to the modes of material nature from practical point of view. What am I?
What am I? You're the same, but what is my position?
Какво съм и къде съм? Да, това е мисълта. Мога ли да се нарека предано отдадена?
What am I doing? Am I doing devotional service or not? Right?
So can I tell myself that I'm devotee? Consider myself devotee?
Good question. Okay. So, there's a different way. Well, I was thinking of some verse in the 4th canto. Well, let's put it in a simple way. Even Prabhupada, and that's also in Shastra, actually only liberated souls can chant the holy name.
Да го кажем по този начин. Само освободените личности мантруват Харе Кришна Махамантра.
So we may ask ourselves, what are we doing?
И така може да се запитаме какво правим.
What are we chanting and what kind of service are we rendering?
И така, какво мантруваме, какъв тип служене извършваме?
So therefore, we have different stages, or you could say categories, in devotional service.
И затова имаме различни категории или степени на преданото служене.
We all should know what's the basic category.
Всички трябва да знаем коя е основната категория.
Even in Sanskrit, you should know what it's called and what it means.
Дори на санскрит трябва да знаеш коя е и какво означава.
Anybody? Volunteers? You know it? No. Yes, and in Sadhana Bhakti, which one? Vaidhi Bhakti.
Да, Sadhana Bhakti, по-точно Vaidhi Bhakti.
So Vaidhi means rules and regulations.
И така, Vaidhi означава правила и предписания.
Which means we are not qualified, because if you analyze the word devotional service, it means rendering service with devotion.
И това означава, че да, ние не сме квалифицирани, защото ако разгледаме дефиницията на преданото служене, тя е, че
with devotion. To render service with devotion.
Ние извършваме служене с преданост.
Well, obviously we can also render service without devotion.
И разбира се, ние може да отдаваме служене и без преданост.
But, and if you get paid, that's what happens in the material world.
И ако ти бъде платено, това се случва в материалния свят.
Otherwise you wouldn't render service. If you don't get paid, you don't serve.
Иначе, ако не се плати, няма да извършиш съответно служене.
Unless you're forced.
В случай, че
That's also possible. That's called a slave.
Това се нарича роб.
In the Roman times that was prominent.
По време на римляните това е било доста често срещано.
You have to work and there's somebody with a whip behind you.
Бил си принуден да работиш и имал човек, който надзирател, който те е следял.
Then your service is out of fear.
И тогава в този случай твоето служене е от чувство на страх.
So that's the lowest because you really don't want to serve at all. You don't get paid. You don't like it, but you do it because otherwise they kill you.
И това е най-ниското.
Or they torture you. Whatever. So you have to suffer. In order to avoid suffering, you do service.
И това е най-ниското ниво, за да избегнеш страданието, трябва да извършиш служене.
Now there's another type of service which is done out of duty.
Сега има друго ниво на степен на служене, което е от чувство за дълг.
Yes, this is higher than doing it out of fear.
Това е по-високото ниво от това да го правиш чувство за страх.
So Vaidhi Bhakti, well, it could be of both. It could be out of fear and out of duty.
Може да бъде примесено и от двете.
And also in one sense out of voluntary, with a desire to serve.
Да, и същевременно с това може да е примесено и с желание просто да служиш от любов.
But it's a stage where the spontaneous love for Krishna has not manifest.
Но това е ниво, на което спонтанната любов към Кришна все още не се е проявила.
So therefore in our case, let's say, to be specific, we do render service under the guidance of higher authority.
И затова в нашия случай ние извършваме предано служене под опеката на авторитет.
Well, in the traditional sense, it's the spiritual master who engages others in devotional service.
В традиционния случай това е ролята на духовния учител, който ангажира останалите в предано.
Yes, and those are generally neophytes. They could be kanishta adhikaris, that's right.
И това са обикновено начинаещите, да, те могат да бъдат наречени каништа адхикари.
So, but they have come, if we analyze Adau Shraddha, then Sadhusanga, then Bhajana Kriya, then you start to serve.
И така, ако наблюдаваме различните степени, минаваме през различните стадии, чак когато започнем да служим.
So there's some faith.
Така че има някаква вяра.
And therefore you do the service. It's voluntary.
И за това ти правиш това служение. Това е по свободна воля.
But it could be out of fear.
Но също така може да бъде продиктувано от страх.
You heard the philosophy and you were told, if you don't be careful, you become a dog and hog in your next life. Or worm in the stool.
Чуваш философията и разбираш, че ако не извършиш това служение, можеш да станеш куче или магария в следващия живот, а дори и червя.
Yes, and you're intelligent, so you actually believe that. It's not just a story.
И ти си интелигентна и ти разбираш това и разбираш, това не е просто някаква история.
So because you're intelligent, I don't want to become a hog.
И поради това, че си интелигентна, ти си казваш, аз не
So I might as well engage in service to the Lord, so next life at least to become a human being.
Това по-добре се ангажира в служение на Бога, за да мога следващия живот поне да бъде в тяло на човек.
I mean, that may be one motive. Shouldn't be. Shouldn't be the motive, but could be.
Не трябва да бъде основен мотив, но може да бъде.
And then duty could be, if one understands, well, I'm an eternal servant of Krishna, that's my constitutional position. I don't like it very much, but I understand that's my duty. I'm a servant.
И извършено чувство за дълг, човек може да си мисли, че аз съм частичка от Кришна, аз съм слуга на Кришна и е моят дълг да служа на Кришна.
But the point is, if there's faith in the spiritual master, in the devotees, in the process of devotional service,
но истината е, че ако имаме вяра в преданите, в духовният учител и в преданото служене,
and one follows the instructions of higher authority,
и човек следва инструкциите на по-висш авторитет,
then Krishna is very kind. He will accept that service.
Кришна е много мил, той ще приеме това служене.
And actually the service is rendered like via these higher personalities. We don't pretend to serve the Lord directly.
И всъщност това предано служене минава през линията на тази авторитетна последователност. Ние извършваме предано служене директно към Бога.
Yeah, we heard Tandera Charana Sevi Bhakta Sanevas Janame Hoy Eya Vilash from Narottam Das Thakur. My only desire is to serve the devotees. The six Goswamis are our, you could say, leaders of the Vaishnavas, and be in the association. Vaishnava Seva. This is our position.
И както чухме в песента на Наротам Дас Такур, той казва, че той се моли да служи винаги на шестимата Госвами и да извършва сева или предано служение към вайшнавите.
Yes, and if we do that, even though we haven't transcended the three modes of material nature.
И всъщност ако правим това, дори и да не сме станали трансцендентални по отношение на трите гуни на материалната природа.
But we are in the process.
Ние сме в процес на това.
And then when you transcend, then Krishna says, Mad Bhaktim Labhate Param. That's a high, then you come to a higher stage of real devotional service, where's Bhakti.
И когато станем трансцендентални, Mad Bhakti Labhate Param, тогава ние...
Yes, you come to the stage of real devotional service.
Тогава ние идеме на истинското равнище на преданото служение.
Because, this Bhakti, and when Prabhupada quotes Nitya Siddha Krishna Prema, practically always says Nitya Siddha Krishna Bhakti. Bhakti, Prema, love of Krishna, devotional service, it's the same thing.
И както Шрила Прабхупад цитира, Према Бхакти, Бхакти Йога, Бхакти е едно и също нещо.
But he translates Bhakti, which one could say is just devotion, as devotional service.
Той всъщност превежда бхакти, човек може да си каже, че това е само преданост, но той го превежда като предано служене.
It's not just a sentiment, I'm devoted and I have so much love in my heart, but you don't do anything.
Това не е просто някакво чувство, усещане и човек просто си казва, аз съм обичам Бога, но да не прави никакво практично.
No, this love will manifest in service.
Тази любов ще се прояви в служене.
So in the beginning it will be regulated under rules and regulations. You're not spontaneously serving.
Така в самото начало това предано служене ще бъде регулирано от правила и предписания, то няма да бъде спонтанно.
But the process is so perfect that even though in the beginning it may be, you could say, mechanical, right? You're just doing things because you vowed to do it, you understand you should do it, but maybe spontaneously you wouldn't necessarily do it, but you still do it.
И процесът е толкова прекрасен, че дори в началото може да го правим така механично, чувство за дълг, от това, че сме обещали, но...
Yeah, this doing it because you're supposed to do it and you understand the necessity to do it under rules and regulations. This is okay in the beginning.
Да, това е добре да го правим в началото, чувство за дълг, от чувство за следване на правилата и предписанията.
I mean, we shouldn't forget we're coming from a background where we're completely under the modes of material nature and conditioned.
И не бива никога да забравяме, че ние идваме от предишна среда, в която сме били силно благословени от трите гуни на материалната.
Yeah, so by good fortune, by coming in contact with devotees, and specifically a pure devotee like Srila Prabhupada, then we begin to serve, although we may not even know what we are doing.
И така, благодарение на щастието да влезем в контакт с преданите на Кришна, с Шрила Прабхупада, ние започваме да извършим предано служение, макар и понякога да не разберем всъщност какво правим.
But the devotee engages us in service.
Но преданият ни ангажира в служение.
And then we become purified.
И по този начин ние ставаме пречистени.
So gradually, then this Krishna prema, or bhakti devotion, which is actually in the heart in a perfect condition, it will awaken.
И така, постепенно, тази бхакти или тази любов към Бога, която е в нашето сърце, по естествен начин започва да се пробужда.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong. Did you ask that question? How do you know whether you are advancing? Was that this morning or sometime?
Прави ми, ако греша, но кога задали този свой въпрос, как да знам дали напредвам? Днес ли беше сред?
Yes. So, there's a verse that gives the answer to that question.
Всъщност има точно паралелен стих, който отговаря на този въпрос.
That's 11th canto,
Това е 11-та песен.
Now my memory, I will try. Bhakti pareshanubhava viraktya anyatra trika eka kala. Is it? Then prapadyamanasya yatashyantasyus tushti pushti kshut apayo anugrahasa, I think. Anyway, I know the meaning. So this verse, you may have heard it, the translation, compares the process of devotional service to eating.
Този стих, който Махарадж каза, сравнява преданно служение с процеса на хранене.
I could look it up. That's the advantage of Veda base. Yes, it doesn't take long. But we have Bhakti, Para Isha Anubhava and Virakti. Three things.
Ние имаме три неща.
Virakti, we just go to Virakti. And there's many times Prabhupada quotes this verse. And he always, or most of the time he says, if you want to know whether you are advancing or not in devotional service, then nobody has to give you a certificate. You can know very easily. And he said, this is the test of Bhakti. So let me see whether I find here where he speaks about that. So, three things: Bhakti, Para Isha, Paresha, Para Isha, Anubhava, and Virakti. Bhakti means devotion. We have explained that. Or yes, you can say devotion, a feeling for the Lord, to want to render service, something like that.
Така казахме, че бхакти означава чувство, емоция на желание да служим на Бога.
And Paresha Anubhava, one feels the presence of the Lord in one's life.
И Paresha Anubhava, човек усеща присъствието на Бога в своя живот.
And Virakti means detachment.
Virakti означава непривързаност.
So, and Chaisha Trika Eka Kala. These three things happen simultaneously.
Тези три неща стават едновременно.
And in degrees, not that it's like from 0 to 100 in 1 second, obviously.
И също така в различна степен не е така, че от 0 веднага става 100%.
It's a process. Huh?
Това е процес.
So, I was... So, let's see. Paresha. Well, actually here, I think this is the verse, yes. 11.2.42, it's from the instructions by the Yogendras to Maharaj Nimi.
11.2.42, това са инструкциите на югендрите към Махарадж Ними.
Well, let's hear it again now, the real thing, without speculation. Bhakti pareshanubhavo viraktir anyatra chaisha trika ekakala prapadyamanasya yatashna taksyus tushti pushti kshut apayo nugasam. So, devotion, direct experience of the Supreme Lord, and detachment from anything material.
И така, преданост към върховната божествена личност и непривързаност.
So, these three things occur simultaneously. These three. Devotion, direct experience of the Lord, and detachment.
Значи предаността към Бога, усещането на Бога в своя живот, директното възприемане на Бога в своя живот и също така
So, when do they happen? Prapadyamanasya means somebody who is in the process of taking shelter, of surrendering to the Supreme Lord.
И кога се случват тези три неща? В процес на отдаването на върховната божествена личност.
And the comparison in the same way that if a person is eating, he will experience three things simultaneously.
И по същия начин, както човек, когато се храни, той изпитва три неща.
There's some pleasure. because it tastes good. I mean, supposedly it's nice prasadam. Yes. And it's healthy, it nourishes you, it gives you energy. And your hunger goes away. You lose interest. As you are eating, you're losing interest in the eating. So this virakti, detachment, means you are losing interest in material things. That's the real test. And you can see that you already have lost a lot of interest in many material things that before you came to Krishna consciousness you were quite interested in.
И вече можеш да видиш, че голяма част от нещата, към които си била привлечена, материална гледна точка в миналото си, вече са изчезнали.
Isn't it?
Не е ли така?
So, you can make a list. And you will be surprised.
И ще бъдеш изненадан.
Maybe, I don't know how many years, but, so many years in the past, this you really liked it so much.
И може да видиш как в миналото, може би доста години назад, но
let's take something very obvious, I think, for everybody who is here, eating any kind of meat or fish or something like that. So maybe in the past you really liked certain things a lot. Now, if somebody presents it now to you, cooked by a 5-star chef, for free, will you accept it?
И дори сега някой да ти представи всички тези неща, приготвени от шеф, който е много високо ниво.
It's really perfectly prepared, huh? But you will not be interested, I hope.
Няма да бъдеш така привлечен, надявам се.
Maybe you even will be, as soon as you see it and smell it, be disgusted.
Може би дори в момента, в който го помиришеш и го видиш, ще станеш отвратен.
Hopefully. It wouldn't be so good if you say, well, it really smells fantastic, but I shouldn't do it. I go to hell, No. That means there is some advancement becoming free from the three modes of material nature. Actually, it means your senses are changing. Your perception, your sense perception is changing. Yes. Like, people who, depending on their senses, nowadays it has come to the point that they have their area for smoking. They can't just smoke anywhere. Even in the airport, you have a cabin practically. You're locked up in the... But they're inside. Unbelievable. And they enjoy it. At least they don't mind.
Както знаем, в днешно време пушачите, за тях има специална зона, такава оградена, в която те си пушат. И макар че не е приятно, за тях е окей, супер.
Imagine you would enter this place.
Представиш, че ти би влезъл в това място.
No, huh? Oh my God. It's intolerable. What to speak, or what about hard drinks? Not soft drinks, hard drinks. They're called hard drinks for some reason. You offer that to a child. Imagine, my God, what a crime. In Spain, they have something that is called agua ardiente. You could say fire water. I think that's what the Indians in America, when they first got this, they called it fire water because it looks like water and it burns like fire. Yeah, American Indians, when they, white people they brought, they gave them alcohol and firearms. Anyway, it's part of the history, how they degraded them.
Да, дори американските индийци имат
Индианците.
Yes, the white people, the English, they brought whiskey and, probably maybe even vodka. I don't know. So the Indians, innocent people, for them this is fire water. Now you give her some glass of fire water. Will she enjoy it? She will spit it out, I'm sure. Or maybe even we will spit it out, I hope. It's intolerable. It's not milk with honey. But the person who likes that, you offer him a glass, hot milk with honey, he will feel insulted. Yes, because the senses have become accustomed to fire water and they think they're enjoying. The hard drinking guys, Yes, one more, So you have to, Prabhupada says it's an acquired taste. Naturally, you reject it. Like the first time you smoke. You're coughing. It's not pleasant. But you learn how to like it. So in the process of devotional service, we may have had or have, yes, so many bad habits in the sense we liked things that are tamasic and rajasic, but the senses change. Yes. And you appreciate things that a person who is in tamaguna and rajaguna really doesn't like at all. And you will not like things in tamaguna and rajaguna. I hope. Yes. Maybe there's still some. I mean, because it's a process. So maybe some things will still have some inclination to, and they're not really pure. Huh? So that's the process. We're in the process. But the gross things, if we are serious, because that's the point of initiation. Gross things we have given up. Meat, fish, eggs, any type of drug, and, these are, that goes with the tongue. And
тези грубите неща, четирите регулиращи принципа, тези специално по отношение на езика, мисля.
Yes, and so you can judge your own advancement with this verse. How much, not that I avoid it by just duty or fear, but I actually don't like it.
Точно това е стиха, по който ти можеш да тестваш твой напредък.
Virakti, detachment means you're not interested. You don't like it.
Това означава, виракти означава, че те вече ти харесват.
So, everybody can do that. Yeah.
Дали този тест, за това непривързаност, той е валиден през целия период на преданното служение, израстване в преданното служение, или има моменти, когато той вече не е приложим, има други някакви тестове? Дали, не знам дали разбрам да задават въпрос.
This test of including detachment, is it appropriate for the whole process of devotional service, or for a higher stage there is another test at the detachment that we can judge?
This verse is, that's the verse Prabhupada always quotes. So if we analyze it, it's not only detachment, there's also devotion and direct experience of the Supreme Lord.
Това е сега, който Прабхупад най-често дава, и ако видим, тук не става въпрос само за непривързаност, за преданост към Кришна и за неговото директно...
So Bhakti should...
Да, имам предвид, дали това тези три неща, които изброихме, дали те са основния критерий за
Therefore I said it's a there's from 0 to 100, let's say. That's the scale.
Както Махарадж каза, има скала от 0 до 100%.
100 means, prema, full love of Krishna and no material contamination.
100% означава Кришна према и никакво материално
замърсяване. So, if whatever percentage, then there's some residue of three modes of material nature, yes.
И ако има някакво замърсяване, това означава, че има следи от притегление на материалната природа.
Now, other verses who explain this whole process, these are the most important verses, I think, in the Srimad Bhagavatam, are these 5 in the 2nd chapter of the 1st canto, starting with Shrinvatam Svakata Krishna.
И освен този, има и други, които също са важни според мен в това отношение, и това са в първа песен, има 5 стиха.
Because those verses explain how from beginning to hear and becoming purified in the heart, one comes to perfection.
И в тях се обяснява как чрез слушането сърцето започва да се пречиства и човек се насочва към съвършенство.
So everything starts with Shrinvatam Svakata Krishna. And Shrinvatam, Prabhupada translates with being eager to hear about Krishna.
И всичко започва с това да бъдем, да желаем силно да слушаме за Кришна.
Yeah. Hearing out of fear or duty is good, but it's not so good.
Да слушаме от чувство за страх и на задължение, това е добре, но не е чак толкова.
Yes, you may live in a temple and think, I have to go to class, otherwise, the temple president will kick me out. So then this type of hearing every day is not very effective.
И може да присъстваме на класовете, да слушаме, защото ако не присъстваме, темпо президента ще ни накаже, ще ни изгони. Това не е много.
But if I have a choice, I have no interest actually. I rather go on Facebook.
Но ако имате някакъв избор, за мен беше би било по-добре да седа на Facebook.
And read all the useless information that is presented there, which is basically really a lot of useless stuff.
И въобще да седне и да чете някакви празни неща, които нямат никакъв смисъл.
Yeah, even devotees. That's the problem. As you know, I never wanted to do this, but I'm doing it now just to put the classes there. That's all, the only purpose.
Всъщност това е често срещано и при дори с преданите, знаеш, че направих тази...
But you cannot avoid to see the notice, what do you call it, the news feed, and it comes from devotees saying things.
И всъщност направих Фейсбук, за да мога да кача моите класове, но има такъв на страниците за новините.
So, 90% is useless talk.
90%, което преданите качат, са празни приказки.
According to my criterion. Sorry. So anyway, going back to these 5 verses, so everything starts with, you have to be proactive, you have to have a desire to know about Krishna, to hear about Krishna, to understand how to become purified. The whole thing, not just by fear or duty.
И както казахме, всичко започва с това да слушаме за Кришна, съжелание, не просто чувство на дълг или от страх.
So this Shravana Kirtana, it's called Punya, but it's not just mundane piety, it's a spiritual, positive, how you could say, asset. It's a merit you have. Shravana Kirtana, hearing like this and chanting like that.
Да слушаме по този начин и да възпяваме по този начин не е просто обикновена благочестива дейност, това е свързана директно с духовното.
And then the result will be Hridayantaksto Yabadrani Vidunoti Suritsatam. Krishna will become active in the heart.
И резултатът ще бъде този, че Кришна ще стане активен от нашето сърце.
He is not necessarily active in everybody's heart.
Не е задължително той да е активен в сърцето на всеки.
In the sense, he's there as super soul, as observer, and he's guiding the ways of the living entities, as he says in Bhagavad Gita.
Да, в известен смисъл, да, той е свърхдушата в сърцето на всеки и той наблюдава дейността на всеки.
But he will not clean your heart if you don't want.
Но той няма да изчисти сърцето ти, ако той не желае. Ако ти не желаеш.
He is very kind. He doesn't force you to do anything you don't want.
той е много мил и не те кара да правиш, не те принуждава да правиш нищо, което ти не желаеш.
Even as Prabhupada says, if you want to forget him, he'll give you the facility to forget him forever.
Дори да желаеш да го забравиш, той ще ти позволи, ще ти даде нужното, за да това се случи.
But Satam, if you are sincere, honest, you really want to advance in spiritual life, Krishna knows, he sees that, then he is the Surit, he is the dear friend who will clean your heart.
Но ако човекът е искрен, честен, да, Кришна Кришна е най-добрият приятел и той ще му помогне това да се случи.
So, then the next verse states that if that happens, then nashta prayeshu avadreshu, all these inauspicious things in the heart will practically be eliminated by Krishna's grace.
И в следващия стих се казва, че
Nashta prayeshu avadreshu.
Всички неблагоприятни неща в сърцето ще бъдат изчистени.
And then you become fixed, bhakti bhavati naishtiki.
И тогава човек ще стане фиксиран.
Which means, as said in the next verse, tara rajas tamo bhava, that rajas and tamas practically are eliminated.
И в следващия стих точно това се казва, че по естествен начин тамас и раджас се изчистват от нашето сърце.
So that means, as we started in the beginning, you are transcending the three modes of material nature.
И нека се върнем в началото, това означава, че ти започваш да трансцендентираш тези три гуни.
At least the two lower ones.
И не тези две по-ниши гуни.
And sattva, you become citta sattva, you become situated in sattva and then later in shuddha sattva.
И по този начин ти се позиционираш в садва и в един по-късен етап на.
And then there's a result. Evang prasana manaso. Then you become joyful. Your heart, your mind becomes clear. It becomes enlightened.
Да, и това си има своите последици. Човек започва да става по-вдъхновен, по-просветлен.
Yeah, that's another test.
Това е следващото.
If you advance in devotional service, you become joyful.
И ако ти напредваш в предно служение, ти започваш да ставаш щастлив.
Susukam kartum avyayam. You know, you feel, yes, joyful, happy. If you are depressed, you are not advancing in devotional service. There's some big problem. So then after that, then Hridaya, you know, the knot in the heart is cut. And that's it. Finished. You're liberated. So, yes, you will get there. Yes. I mean, so it's a process. So if we continue the process and we can test how much are we losing interest in material life. And the biggest test, we have mentioned it, we will, although you will not like to hear it, the biggest test is sex.
И колкото да не иска да го чуваме това нещо, най-големият тест е това дали сме изгубили вкусът към секса.
When you start to lose interest in that, you're really advancing.
Когато започнеш наистина да губиш вкус за това, ти наистина напредваш.
And if you're increasing your interest, you're going in the opposite direction.
Ако вкусът ти се увеличава, всъщност ти се движиш в обратната посока.
So as long as we can't do this like so easily, so therefore we have a whole system of marriage, etc., etc.
Но разбира се, това не може да стане толкова лесно, затова имаме цяла система, за това да се...
With the 4 stages. Anyway, so, yeah. So if one wants to, then it will work. It definitely works. There's no doubt that it works. So, what about the question? Is it more or less answered?
Да, особено сутрешния въпрос, много ви благодаря, че го повдигнахте, защото може би усетите, че останат така недоизяснени неща останат.
Thank you very much for mentioning about my question today, because obviously there was something left for me.
Yes.
I was not very much.
I mean, this is the verse. You can look it up, 11:2:42.
Може да видиш този стих, това е стиха 11:2:42.
And as I said, in his lectures, Prabhupada quotes this quite often, and it's always the same theme. He says, if you want to know whether you're advancing You don't have to ask anybody. This is your test.
Това е стиха, който Шрила Прабхупад най-често цитира. Ако искаш да тестваш до каква степен ти си напреднал, няма нужда да питаш абсолютно никой. Това е стиха, който може да помогне.
Yes, and it always is, it's not that, this is a long time ago. Again, the same thing we mentioned the other day. These principles, these are eternal.
И това, което казах в предишния ден, тези принципи, те са вечни.
It's not that only for Maharaj Nimi millions of years ago it was okay, and now in the 21st century this is all old stuff. It doesn't apply.
Не така, че само за Махарадж Ними преди милион години това е било приложимо, не това е и в 21 век е напълно актуално.
That's the difference between real transcendental knowledge and some mundane speculative whatever concoction.
Това е разликата между истинското трансцендентално знание и модерните такива спекулативни.
Yeah, because the living entity, we, the jiva, we are, our characteristics, and this is always the same.
Защото ние като живи и живи същества, нашите характеристики са винаги едни и същи.
And the three modes of material nature are the same.
И трите гуни на материалната природа са много едни и същи.
It's Rajas, Tamas, and Sattva. There's not more than that. That's all. It's sufficient, huh?
Tamas и Sattva.
We're lucky we don't have 10 modes of material nature. 3 is already quite enough. I mean, it's Krishna's creation. He's very expert. There's only 3 primary colors. It's sufficient. Yellow, blue, and red. Imagine. Every other color comes from these 3. Now science, they say these screens, they have 16 million colors. Which is obvious just calculation, because you will not be able to see the difference between 16 million shades of color. Impossible. Yes. But mathematically, that's there. But is that all? You could, if you wanted, of course, divide it up and have more shades, right? Obviously, it's unlimited. So the combination of the 3 modes is also very complicated. Therefore, we have 8,400,000 different species of life. It's all different combinations of the 3 modes, that's all. So that's never going to change, huh? That's eternal truth. And the nature of the living entity, that's eternal truth. That will never change. And our relationship as being a servant, that will not change. Yes. And the process of devotional service, it's also eternal. So, so these verses, they are as true today as they were 1,000,000 or 2,000,000 years ago.
Те са верни както сега, така и милиони години назад във времето.
Yes, and the enemies, lust, anger, greed and all that, they're always the same.
И затова нашите основни врагове, поход, гняв и алчност, те са винаги едни и същи.
So, anything else? 1, 2, she was very quick.
How do we understand that Krishna is pleased with our devotional service?
If the devotees are pleased, Krishna is pleased. If the spiritual master is pleased, Krishna is pleased. Yasya prasadat, Bhagavat prasado. And then, because most of us are not very conscious, you think it's again Yasya prasadat, Yasya aprasadat, nagati kotopi. If it's not pleased, then you don't go anywhere.
И разбира се, ние понякога не сме осъзнати за това, но се казва яся апрасада.
Yes. It's yasya prasada. It's a long A, and the other one is yasya prasada. There's no A. I mean, it's the A of the yasya, and then becomes prasada. But the second one is not yasya prasada. It's yasya aprasada.
Във второто има двойно А, което е отрицание, докато в първото няма. То е яся прасада.
So, that's what we know, you know.
Това е което ние знаем.
Otherwise, how will we know?
Значи как ще знаем?
Well, you may, if you're advanced, you may feel that Krishna is pleased.
Ако наистина обаче си напреднал, човек може дори да изпита, че Кришна е...
Bhakti parashanubhava virakti anyatra. Devotion means, or direct experience, perception of the Lord, paraisha anubhava. This also happens. It's not an imagination.
И парешо анубава, това директно възприятие на Бога, това се случва.
Yeah.
В процеса, в началото на процеса на преданното служене, ние започваме тази садо санга с книгите на Шрила Прабхупад и с преданодарите. Преведи го.
In the beginning of our devotional life, we started the sadhu sangha and association of devotees.
In the books of Srila Prabhupada.
In the books of Srila Prabhupada.
Както и сега в тази песен на Бхакти Vinod Thakur.
And also, as we see in this song of Bhakti Vinod Thakur.
И молитвите на Същия Кунти, ние започваме да виждаме най-високия стадий на преданното служене.
And also in the prayers of Queen Kunti, we start to see the highest stage of devotional service.
И неусетно някак се опитваме да се съизмерим с тези велики личности.
And somehow unnoticeably, we start to measure ourselves with this kind of high stage.
И почваме да си мислим, че може би ние сме готови. Почваме да имаме някакви подобни желания и молитви като техните. Това е идеята.
И така по някакъв начин ние започваме да се молим. Същия начин.
А не на българ.
Try again.
And also in this way we start to pray in the same manner as they are doing.
So.
И в един момент даже нещата почват да се получават.
And actually, at some point, the things start to click, start to happen.
So?
И ние разбираме, че всъщност не сме готови за това.
And then we realize we're not yet ready for this.
Not ready for what?
За тези благослови.
For these blessings.
Why not?
that are coming.
Well, what's the problem?
Имам предвид, че ние реално разбираме позицията, в която се намираме. Това не е позицията на тези велики преданодайни.
So actually we start to realize that we are praying, but we are not in the position of this exalted devotees.
Of course not.
Как да бъдем с правилно отношение и балансирани, да знаем на какъв етап от духовното си развитие сме, какво бихме могли да понесем и какво не.
So how can we understand and be balanced and to understand at what stage of our devotional progress are we and how to actually listen more? How to practice according to our stage of advancement. What to pray for.
What to pray for?
According to our stage, how to understand at what stage we are, so that we can pray according to our stage.
What? I don't understand the difficulty. What's the difficulty? You don't know where you are at? No, really? Look into the mirror. I mean, you should know where you are lacking. Is that so difficult to understand? You may also understand what you have accomplished. Right? If we talk about, I don't know, any of these things, let's say detachment. So some things we know we have become detached from because you don't like it anymore. Or if I go with you to a restaurant to have a Kentucky Fried Chicken, will you be in ecstasy? Oh, finally somebody understands my secret desires.
И ако вземем, например, този случай с непривързаността, ако ние заедно отидем в Kentucky Fried Chicken и се поръчим ястие там, ти ще бъдеш в екстасията.
Or we invite you to have a little, party in the club. Yeah, nene. Why not? Why nene? No. Yeah, but before it was not nene. Before it was da. Right? Look 10 years back. What did you do? Don't tell us. What did you just think about it? Oh my God. Yeah, don't tell us. So, now you know that you're not interested in that, I hope. So, what's the difficulty to understand where you're at? Now again, you also know what you're lacking, I think. You should. Because maybe so many desires are still there. Anarthas may be there. Things you know I should get rid of, but I haven't. So then, yes, we can use, in one sense, we can take advantage, we can benefit from the prayers of great devotees by just repeating them.
И по този начин всъщност ние можем да се облагодетелстваме и да се възползваме от тези молитви на тези напреднали предани.
Yes, the whole Shikshastakam is for that, in one sense, you can say.
Цялата Shikshastakam е за
това. Just try to, if you really pray, Nadanang Najanang Nasundaring, you be careful, if that is being fulfilled, no more money, more than you need, no more beautiful women, no more prestige being on the stage and everybody claps. That's all gone. You only want pure devotional service, life after life, not even liberation. That's a very heavy prayer, this one.
И как се казва в стихът на Шикшаштака, Надана Надяна на Сундарим.
And for the girls it means no beautiful boys.
Ако ти се молиш за това и това нещо наистина се случи без екстра парични средства, без да учат жени за мъже и слаба престиж, тогава.
Yeah, we don't want that. Actually, we don't want that.
Всъщност не искаме това.
And if we still want it, that means, yes, we have to work on something, right?
И ако ние все още обаче искаме тези неща, това значи ние трябва да поработим.
Yeah. I mean, again, similar type of test. You can test yourself. How much do I still want? How many plans do I still make to become successful or famous or rich or whatever in the material world?
Да, всъщност можем да измерим, да тестваме това спрямо нашите опити и да забогатеем, да станем известни и така да натрупаме някакви блага.
As long as we are making plans, try to understand what it means to make plans. You are thinking about how will I obtain this, how will I obtain this, how can I get this, how can I find a suitable wife, husband, how can I get a nice house, how can I get a better car, how can I get a better position in society. As long as all these things are going on, we have a problem.
Опитайте се да разберете какво означава това да планираме, да правим планове, за това да уредиме материално нашия живот, да имаме добро положение, да имаме пари, как да намерим подходящия съпруг, съпруга, къща и материални придобивки.
We really should definitely feel, I don't want this.
Ние наистина трябва да усещаме, да чувстваме, че аз не искам.
I'm not interested in it.
Не се интересувам от това.
Maybe, according to my circumstance, I will have to, if I have a family, I will have to make some money nowadays. Because we don't, anyway, that's a different story, but nowadays, normally you need money.
Може би, разбира се, ако се поставя в такова положение, Като отговорност, да, може би трябва да имаме нужда. Ние имаме нужда.
Yes, you have to provide a place for them to live. What can you do?
Трябва да така да.
So you're caught up in that. Okay, but you do your duty, but maybe just whatever is necessary, not more.
Трябва да се погрижим наистина за отношение на нашите задължения към семейството, но не повече от това.
So anyway, I hope it's clear what I want to say, but in your heart, one also simultaneously will think, well, when will I get out of this?
Да, надявам се това да е станало ясно, но в сърцето си човек трябва така да се моли да иска това да свърши, това ще свърши.
Not the idea of how can I make it, fine tune it so it becomes better situation, and I like it until I die.
А не така, че да се чудиме как да направя така материалното положение добре, ще каже да ми харесва в момента, в който умра.
As long as we are very much interested like that, well, we'll stay here.
И в момента, в който ние сме така много заинтересовани от това нещо, в този момент ние ще останем.
Krishna fulfills all desire. We get another body and continue.
Кришна изпълнява всички желания и той ще ни даде ново тяло и ние ще продължим.
But whatever we have done in devotional service is not lost, so no problem.
Но пък, разбира се, това, което сме направили в предано служение, то не се губи, така че...
Still it's not very intelligent because you never know what the future will have.
И все пак това не е много интелигентно, защото ние няма как да знаем какво ни е приготвило в бъдещето.
So, it's a little kind of Bulgarian roulette.
Това е така, може да наречем българска рулета.
If you're lucky, it only makes click. If you're not lucky, it blows your head off. Yes. So, let's see what happens. All right.
Can she ask you a quick question with yes or no?
Oh, yes or no is a quick question. Let's give the chance of a quick question. If it's not a quick question, he will ask the question.
Is it true that the spiritual master is one and the same in every life of the person in the world?
I don't know.
Maybe.
Possibly. Maybe not, maybe yes. But in one sense, yes, because spiritual master is one. It's Krishna appearing in different forms. So, but it could be. It says in the Guru Vandana, my Lord, life after life. So it may depend on your desire. Krishna fulfills all desires. If you want, he may come. That's right. So,
Ако това е желанието на предания, да, той може да дойде, но пък първо казвам, че Прабхупад се помоля така, не ме кара да видам отново.
So let's all go back together, back to Godhead. No need to, start all over again.
Не е нужно да започнем от начало всичко.
I don't know where to start.
Well, start somewhere. Don't make it too long.
The first part is, you kind of mentioned these two, okay, let's do ends of the scale. One is that every little thing you do is bhakti no matter what,
Did I say that?
For Krishna, you do something, no matter the motivation, you do something for Krishna, Krishna accepts it because you offered it.
No, I didn't say that. I never said that.
Well, okay.
And I didn't mean that, then it's a misunderstanding.
Well,
I never said that.
The other night when we started talking,
then we have to clarify.
About Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur and Mishra Bhakti. Remember that?
Well,
you do some service,
okay.
And that's devotional service.
No.
Krishna accepts it.
No. And there has to be devotional service, not just any service. So if there's no bhakti, Krishna will not accept.
Yes. So if there is some bhakti, Krishna accepts it.
Yeah, he says that.
But then on the other
And all the devotion says that only Karma Bhakti is Bhakti, which is kind of what you mentioned, like when we present the modes of material nature, then we start actually.
Yeah.
So in between it is this, some people start asking questions like where am I and so on. And I've heard explanation that it's just acharyas are trying to simultaneously inspire us towards the highest goal and keep us grounded so that we don't start thinking that we're like Maharaj, Prahlad Maharaj said the other day, we're in sadhana bhakti, but we think that we know Krishna in full. So we have to be balanced and know where we are. But my question was kind of, this prayer falls in these categories of Bhaktivinoda's prayer, it falls in the categories that Narottam Das Thakur describes 5 types of prayers, 7 types of prayers. So which type of prayer is this?
Which one? This one, Manasadeh Agya?
Yes.
What do you want to hear? What kind of prayer?
Well, if you can speak more about the types of prayer that Narottam Das Thakur explains, like the ones that are lamentation of my own position, lamentation.
Yes. So some are mixed. This is categorical Atmanivedana, surrendering process. As we have heard, I surrender my. You have to somehow or other get this over into Bulgarian.
Първо задава доста гледни точки. После това и аз гледам да почвам. Да, но сега става въпрос за това различните
настроения. Чари ни посочват най-висшата цел и ние се опитваме да знаем коя и да следваме. Обаче как в същото този момент да разбираме къде се намираме, да сме стъпили здраво на земята?
Това беше началото, че се опитват ачарите да дават, понякога казват само това е бхакти, другите казват, но не, това е бхакти. Всъщност идеята е, че ни карат да не изпускаме истинската цел от поглед и да си мислим, че сме достигнали и в същия момент да не се отказваме от пъти и да си кажат, аз нищо не постигам. Опитах се да направя една връзка, не съм сигурен дали ми се получи.
С песента.
Да, с песента Наротtam Das Thakur описва 7 вида молитви и помолих Махарадж да обясни 7 вида молитви и подкрепя това тези 7 вида молитви е тази молитва на Бхактивинода.
So anyway, there's some who are clearly introspective lamentation like Amara Jivana or Anadikaramafale, things like that. This one is, you have heard the translation. He's offering everything to the Lord. It's an act of surrender,
В тази конкретна песен, която пяхме, вие чухте превода, че всъщност в тази песен става въпрос за пълното отдаване на Бога всичко в света.
And we understand that all these songs, all these prayers are meant also to teach us.
Ние разбираме, че всички тези песни и молитвите са предназначени за да...
Yes, they're meant for teaching us.
За да ни получат.
So these acharyas, but they're not faking. It's not they're just playing a role when they say I'm fallen and I have all these bad qualities. They feel like that, but simultaneously they're showing us how we should feel because we don't feel like that.
Всъщност не е така, че те просто, тези ачари, които пеят тези песни, те по някакъв начин се преструват, че имат това настроение. Не, те наистина го имат, но същевременно с това те ни учат как ние трябва да се чувстваме.
Yeah, and we should feel like that, You can kill me, you can protect me, it's up to you, I'm surrendered. Why not try to feel like that?
И ние наистина трябва да се опитаме да се чувстваме по този начин. Може да ме убиеш, може да правиш всичко, което искаш с мене.
And whatever I have, I offer unto your lotus feet. Try to engage in Krishna's service.
И каквото и да имам, предлагам в твоите лотосови ръце. Опитай се да предложиш всичко в Кришна.
What's the difficulty?
Какво е сложно?
So, I think time to stop. Yes, it's not 9, it's 9:30 almost. So, we'll continue. Tomorrow is another day.
Ще продължим и
We have
утре.
another song.
Нов
We
ден,
can
нов
take
песен.
Amara Jivana, for example, so we get some introspective kind of meditation.
Може да попеем Амара Дживана.
Or Narika Karama Fale.
Така.
Rarely you sing it, we have yes, we can easily.
Narottam Das Thakur?
It's Bhaktivinoda Thakur.
No, someone Narottam Das Thakur. Are we going to sing some Narottam Das Thakur?
We can. I have no preference. Yes. Hari Hari Bifale, no problem. But as you mentioned, this, type of introspective, so that's there also.
Такъв тип интроспективна. Това е също така.
So, we can do Hari Hari Bifale.
Може да спеем.
So you don't feel I'm prejudiced. I'm not. Don't speculate. Anyway, thank you all. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Shri Gaura Bhakta Vrinda ki jai.